It's on. Oh, I'll speak closer. Hello and welcome everyone to the December 17th, 2024 Annual Organizational and Regular Board Meeting. Anyone wishing to address the board regarding closed session may do so prior. I do not see any comments. We'll be discussing conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, conference with labor negotiators, and employee discipline, dismissal, release, and leaves. And we will reconvene around 6:30 for open session. Thank you. Hello and welcome to the December 17th, 2024 board meeting. In closed session, the board voted 4-0 with member Kamhai abstaining to approve a settlement agreement with employee HR 121724-1. First, can I get a motion to approve the agenda order?
I move that we approve the agenda order.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Excellent. Any discussion? Okay. Let's vote on the motion. Student board member preferential vote.
Aye.
Colleagues, all those in favor?
Aye.
Agenda order is approved. And now we will have new board members take the oath of office at this time. This is for you. No. Oh, first it is the oath. So will we do this here or stand? Okay, so I will take board members Allison Kamhai, Josh Salzman, Rowena Chu. And I will go one by one in order. Okay. So first, I will start with Rowena Chu. Okay, so you can repeat after me. I, Rowena Chu, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. Should we do a handshake or an? Okay. Okay, and now we will move to Allison Kamhai. Repeat after me. I, Allison Kamhai, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. And now, Josh Salzman. I, Josh Salzman, do solemnly swear or affirm
I, Josh Saltzman, do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
And now we will have, now we're going to sit back down. Yes. And now we will have the election of officers. Now I hand you this. Yes.
I'm hoping I don't have to use this. All right, here we go. It is now time for the election of officers, and for this very rare opportunity, I run this piece of the meeting, just so everyone knows. So we'll start with nominations for the office of President of the School Board.
I nominate Ms. Siegel for president.
Second.
We have a nomination and a second. First of all, I'm supposed to ask Ms. Siegel if you would be interested in accepting.
I accept.
Okay? Is there any discussion? Fine, we will start with student preferential votes.
Aye.
And now for the board, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. Ms. Siegel, congratulations, you're President of the School Board.
And now I will call for nominations for vice president. Oh, I love that nomination. Can I make?
That was prescient.
Can I make a nomination? Okay, I would like to nominate Board Member Durop as Vice President. Do you accept this nomination? No, I need a second. Is there a second?
I second.
Do you accept this nomination?
I do, thank you.
Any discussion? Student preferential vote?
Aye.
Colleagues, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye. Aye. Okay. And now we have board, congratulations to Board Member Durop, for Vice President. And now we will have a recess for reseating. And now the next thing on the agenda is D, accept the statement of votes and certificate of election results and declare the totals to be the final results. It is recommended the board motion to accept the statement of votes, accept the certificates of election results, and declare the totals to be final results of the election. Are there any public comments? I can't see it. I do not see any public comments. Can I get a motion on the table?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Student board members, any questions? Okay, student preferential vote.
Aye. Aye.
Colleagues, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Now E, naming the board representative for the county committee election. This representative votes on behalf of the board for open seats on the Santa Clara County Committee. This traditionally has been assigned to the board president. I do not see any public comments. Can I get a motion on the table?
Sure. I move that we name Ms. Siegel to the county committee.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Student board members, any comments or questions? Colleagues, any questions? Okay. Student preferential vote.
Aye. Aye.
Colleagues, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Okay, next, Board of Education committee assignments for 2025. I do not see any public comments. Can I get a motion on the table?
I move that we I move that we adopt these committee assignment recommendations for 2025.
Okay, and we'll be taking action at the January
Oh.
meeting.
Then we don't.
Then we don't need a motion for this one. So for this topic, I have emailed all of the board members with a list of committees, both ongoing and short-term ad hoc committees. I'm going to read them aloud here to remind or inform the public of our committees. The committees and descriptions are included in the board packet. As a reminder, some of these assignments are subject to open meeting laws, known as the Brown Act, and one of the requirements are that they are open to the public and be noticed in advance. So information as to date, time, and location can be found on our website. So the committees are Board Policy Review Committee. We sometimes use the acronym of BPRC. City School Liaison Committee, Fiscal Advisory Committee, Property Committee, Sustainability Committee, Early Childhood Programs Short-Term Ad Hoc Committee, and Special Education Short-Term Ad Hoc Committee. I also want to share at this time that it is my recommendation to elevate Sustainability Committee to a Brown Act Committee, and more information to come at the January 21st board meeting. So I have emailed and I've heard back, and so the action that will be taken will be at the January meeting. Any questions or comments? Okay. And then same goes for G. The action will be taken at the January meeting. So all schools and programs will transfer from outgoing board members to new board members, and the school and program reassignments will be voted on the January 21st meeting. Do we have any questions? Okay. And then H, proposed calendar for Board of Education meetings for the 2025-26 school year. It is recommended the board approve the proposed schedule of Board of Education meetings for the 2025-26 school year. Can I get a motion on the table?
I make a motion to approve the proposed schedule of Board of Education meetings for the 2025 to 26 school year.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion? So I just want to add that in addition to the scheduled board meetings, I am in the process of scheduling several study sessions, and I'm organizing an onboarding workshop. We could call it a governance workshop that will take place on January 13th from 4:30 to 8:30 right here in the boardroom. Other topics for study sessions could include, but are not limited to, examining the PAUSD promise, analyzing our budget, exploring math. Any questions from my colleagues? From student board? Okay. Student preferential vote?
Aye. Aye.
Colleagues, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes and the calendar is approved. And now we are at reports. Student board member reports.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Firstly, congratulations to the new board members. And next, a little update about what's going on at Pally. So the activities that ASB has hosted these past few weeks include Thankfulness Week, right before Thanksgiving break, where we had activities such as slime making, thank you cards, and hand turkeys. We also hosted a thrift fair where students donated the clothes that they don't wear anymore, allowing other students to take them. It gives them a second chance, and it was a great event that focused on sustainability and reducing clothing waste. The junior class also hosted a Chipotle fundraiser, helping their class earn money for fun events that they are planning next semester. The sophomore class also had a winter social with hot cocoa and cookies. Right now, we do have finals going on, which has been stressful for a lot of students since lots of us had tests even the week before finals. To ease some of that stress, hopefully, ASB hosted Snack and Study last week, where the library hours were extended and pizza and snacks were provided to fuel the students while they study. Pally Theater also finished their showing of Our Town. It was an amazing success. And next semester, for the spring musical, they'll be doing SpongeBob, which will be really fun. Pally Choir also hosted the Magical Feast, which is a Renaissance-themed choir show that Pally hosts yearly. That's all for this semester, and Pally can't wait to see all the amazing things that will happen next semester. And then usually the gun board rep couldn't be here today, so I'll also be giving the gun board report. So during the past few weeks at Gun, SEC hosted the Winter Sports Rally and the ping pong tournament earlier this month, bringing students and teachers together to participate in some intense rounds. Additionally, students celebrated the festive holiday season last week with Code Snowmans. During the event, SEC headed out treats, held card-making booth, and had live music performances by Gun's Tri-M Honor Society. Last but not least, USON hosted the Titan Town Hall on the 11th with a total of 50 attendees and 8 panelists. We extend our great gratitude to board members and Dr. Austin for your thoughtful responses and generosity in offering your time to answer student questions. Now, as we entered into the next semester, SEC is beginning to advertise the opening of the new cafeteria with tasting events and video promotions. That's all for Gun. Thank you.
Now for PAMC student report, starting off with our newly established PTSA formation. PAMC has initiated the formation of its PTSA to support academic and extracurricular activities. Positions are open to parents, some are open to students, and as well as staff. Parents can also join the School Site Council, known as the SSC, or assist with PTSA activities and student events. At the end of last month, we had a Thanksgiving social led by parents and volunteers who we are very grateful for. All PAMC students were able to socialize in the student activities room at lunch while enjoying free food. Next, we finished fall quarter for our Foothill courses. 2 PAMC students teams were finalists in the Foothill Google Case competition, which was available to all students to participate in, so shout out to those teams. Students have also successfully registered for Foothill College's winter quarter courses, and PAMC staff will provide textbooks and course supplies necessary in January. To just sum up the last few weeks, students have just finished up their college final exams throughout last week, and this week students have their high school exams, so I'm wishing you all the best. And just to address a few important dates, Foothill's winter quarter starts January 6th, 2025, and PAMC's second semester high school classes start January 7th, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now, Superintendent of Schools report.
All right, in just a minute, you're going to see our 2 student board reps leave the room. That is not a protest. They have final exams this week, and we discussed earlier, it's more important that they go home, get a good rest, and be ready to go. So as soon as I'm done, they're going to walk out, and that is completely supported here. Now, don't waste your time. Go home and actually do it. All right, few things. First of all, I want to welcome our new board members, and offer, again, a congratulations to each of you. It's not just to the three of you who are seated tonight, but for everyone who raised their hand and went out and campaigned and put themselves out there. It's a big deal to put yourself out there. I've said a million times, elections, local, national, doesn't matter, don't always bring out the best in everybody. And it's tough to sit there and have to go through these things and have opinions shared about you before you've even been seated. So thank you all for that. It's a big deal. We just got back from the California School Boards Association, CSBA conference. The state of California has a little under 1,000 school districts, and most attend. In this case, we were able to get everybody down there for at least pieces of it, and it was really important. And for our 3 new board members, they were able to attend the full-day new board member training by CSBA, and Ms. Siegel was able to attend the new president's sessions. A lot of information. One thing that I'm mindful of, and I just want everyone to hear this because it'd be easy to be missed. Usually, and I'm looking at Ms. Siegel, Mr. Drop, when they were elected, I remember meeting with them and telling them, just go slow. You're not going to know everything on the first day. Take your time, pick your places, look to your team at the board. And this time we have 3 new board members. That's a majority. So I have to say, you don't get to go slow. You're going to go really fast. And we've got a lot of work to do right ahead of us. So the first observation I've made, and I just want to share this little insight, and we have 3 great new board members that read things. They ask good questions. They're going to get up to speed. But for everybody out there, give them a little tiny bit of space. It's going to take a little while. This is not an easy job to pick up. But again, really appreciate the time we spent together. I want to thank Derek Moore, Jung Che, and Mr. Drop for presenting on behalf of our school district at the CSBA conference. Our session was fun, and it was fun because it was absolutely packed. We had about 350 people who came in to learn a little bit about PAUSD, how we use AI as a tool, and specifically how it can benefit lessening the cognitive load, especially for board members. There's a lot of interest in that, but the preparation went a long way. Yesterday, we held our first housing meeting, so for our employee housing, and we had about 35, 40 people here that were interested, and I would imagine more than that. It's impossible to get everyone to a meeting, but really a positive first experience, good feedback. I really appreciate all the work that went into that. My note to myself says, here we go. How's that for a lead-in, right? We have a new superintendent student advisory group that was actually developed through a request from some students. I'd done an interview for one of our publications, and then they wrote me that night and said, would you be interested in doing something like this? Like, yeah, let's do that. The nice part about this one is students set the agenda. Students are doing the recruiting. It's student-led and facilitated, and their request, they only had a couple. Number one is they don't want anyone else in the room, so they want it to be student-led, student-driven with just the superintendent, so we're going to do that. When asked what the qualifications were for representatives, it's pretty easy. Students have to want to be there, and they have to be students. That's about it. And we're going to learn from small groups. So the planning group will remain the same of students, and then each of these meetings, they'll have a whole different group of students that are brought in to be a part of this. I'm really excited about that. One thing I'm going to do with this group, and I just want to foreshadow, and I know that anytime you throw an idea out in a place with an engaged community, there will be instant opinions. But if you wait to share the idea until you've done some more work, then it's, why didn't you tell us what you were thinking? So here we go. Let's see how this one goes. I want to start with students exploring their thoughts around eliminating or in some way dramatically loosening up attendance boundaries for our three high schools. There are school districts that do that. My previous school district had no attendance boundaries. Each year you'd select the high school you wanted to go to and you go. Here's the interesting part about Palo Alto and why I want to start with students. It is a combination of a place that values choice and sometimes has some resistance to change. Well, this would be a change, but it's a change for choice. I have no idea how anyone's going to feel about it. So this is going to be a classic example. Let's go ask and find out. There are no details to be shared right now. There's no proposal. But I definitely want to talk to students about this. Just personally, I live on an attendance boundary. So just on my street, I see the mix of Pally and gun signs in the front yards, and I know that we turned down a pretty fair number of intra-district transfers, meaning within our own districts, requests to go from one school to another. I'm just not sure that we need to. So we're going to explore that a little bit, and I didn't want to get ahead of the board in a way that people think something's going to happen. I can tell you with certainty nothing's going to happen next year. This would be something we'd really have to discuss and think through and work with all of our partners and stakeholders, but that is something we're going to discuss, and I'm very interested in where that might go. We've got a big agenda, so I'm going to stop right there and say thank you again.
Thank you so much. Now we are at staff reports, PAUSD Promise Mid-Year Snapshot. So Dr. Austin.
Yeah, so just to frame this up, this is not a discussion about next year's goals and priorities. Ms. Siegel and I have already discussed, we think it's going to make sense to have a study session on that single topic because there's so much that goes into it. We have a new board, but our current goals for the year were set, and this is our progress snapshot so that we can kind of get a little bit of a sense of how things are going as we're about the halfway point of the year. All right, so Dr. Che, it's all yours.
Thank you, Dr. Austin. The PAUSD Promise, which was adopted in 2019, replaced traditional strategic plan and has since guided our district focus and initiative. PAUSD is committed to 5 priority areas of equity and excellence, innovation, literacy, mental health, and wellness, of course, and serve and celebrate others. The media report aligns with the goal developed collaboratively by staff with stakeholder input back in May. Then it was approved by the Board of Education in June. As shown on this timeline, the December media report is a routine halfway checkpoint to monitor the progress of these goals. These goals are implemented by our dedicated staff who continue to build upon the foundation of excellence. In today's presentation, I'll highlight the first 3 priority areas, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Badr Singh to cover the remaining priorities. Also, more detail can be found in the attachment. Some of the highlights include in equity and excellence, 94% of our students are benefiting from early intervention through MTSS. Our Student Services Department also hosted parent education workshops to strengthen family engagement. Additionally, chronic absenteeism has decreased across many subgroups, including students in special education. In innovation, over 400 students voluntarily participated in AI learning sessions. We launched new elementary progress report and established secondary evidence-based teaching and learning teams. Through our professional learning program, the district has enhanced teacher mentorship and credentialing support. In August, we opened our 3rd high school, Palo Alto Middle College, which supports diverse learners. In literacy, we have expanded our early literacy approach to secondary schools. Staff are focused on small group instruction and data-driven strategies to improve reading proficiency. We continue to scale literacy walkthrough to align and calibrate instructional practices district-wide.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Che. In terms of mental health and wellness, that has been a big priority area for our district. Also, some student feedback was part of that process. 87% of our elementary and 86% of our secondary students feel supported. We've also launched a new social emotional curriculum, the Wayfinder, for secondary students. Another area that, we always focus where we should, primarily on students, but our staff is a big part of that. We're fortunate to have a dedicated mental health specialist for staff, and year to date, she has had 150 plus sessions with staff to address their needs. Our emergency response plans in every classroom. We're proud to share that we have put one of these flip book guides for our safety for all of our staff in every classroom. And then also, in terms of physical wellness, we have 2,000 plus hearing and vision screening tests administered year to date. Moving on to serving and celebrate others, we've served the community through various events. Fortunately, we have an amazing students and staff that highlight some of the pretty spectacular programs, but primarily when you look at our VAPA, our music and our theater performances, as well as our athletics, extracurriculars, a really amazing offering within our community. We've created inclusive environments. One of the best events for staff to attend is the Special Olympics that we really enjoy going and seeing the athletes and the staff and the commitment they do there, as well as the Unity Day that's celebrated at all sites. And then finally, the partnerships we have within our community, primarily the city of Palo Alto, Stanford University, Foothill College, the middle college and dual enrollment. The Palo Alto Police has been a great partner in terms of safety and security, a trusted partner. And then recently KPMG, which has donated thousands of books to our students and families for not only classroom libraries, but also for families to have at home. So we're really fortunate for those partnerships, and that is a quick glance of our mid-year for the PAUSD Promise, and we'll take any questions or feedback.
We have one public comment, Stephen Davis.
Me in the corner, it's all right. I'm reacting to the slides, so it's going to be a bit jerky. I apologize. It is, or was, great to see the rumored Special Education District Advisory Committee announced. When is it going to get started and get to work? When are we going to see a plan, or a plan for a plan, or a schedule for a plan, or I guess a concept for a plan for implementing improvements to the special education program? For MTSS, is the number of students in Tier 1 and Tier 2 a baseline for this year, or how has it changed from previous year, and how many students are in Tier 3? Under inclusive and culturally responsive practices, there are some metrics that we should be looking at. Title IX complaints, suspensions, disproportionality, and others. How are we doing by the numbers? Has the attendance gap improved between disadvantaged groups and others, or is the improvement in attendance just a reflection of overall attendance getting better, which is good? Has our graduation rate improved for our disadvantaged students? Is the gap closing between them and their general ed peers? And this is one of my favorites on the emergency preparedness updates. Site safety plan are supposed to include information for support for students with disabilities. Please go look at it. It actually says that in there. As far as I can see, they don't and they haven't. Please review and report on this. Also, there should be a mechanism in the IEP process for the review of site safety information to see if there's anything that is a potential concern for an individual student. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, do you have any questions, comments? Yes.
since we started doing the promise, maybe my first or second year on the board, my first year on the board, it's really been the guiding document for the district. And so this mid-year snapshot, I'm just giving background, but I want to say that the mid-year snapshot has gotten better and better every year. And this year, I think it provided the most amount of information that I've ever seen, in the sense that it gave me a real sense of progress for all these various items. And for community members, next year, I think Ms. Siegel said, foreshadowed some board study sessions. The board will be deciding our new goals when we do some goal setting on the promise for the following year. So this is just a mid-year snapshot based on the goals the district set previously, and then we'll all get to set new goals going forward into the next year in the spring.
Thank you. I just have a couple questions about some of the information on the slides. On page 8, I'm also going to be referring to the slides for people in the audience or people listening at home. It is stated that there has been staff training on the impact of bias and microaggressions. Can someone help me understand the word staff? Who does that include? Yeah.
I can speak to that.
Thank you.
Yes, so we started this in phases. We necessarily wanted to start with our leadership group at first, as the first group that we start with. So principals and director level individuals participated in specific training around bias and microaggressions, and we had some specific focus and attention on anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. We did our part 1 just last week, and part 2 will be coming up at the next meeting. Also, when I talk about phases, the second layer of that phase is to figure out how to roll out a training to staff at all levels. And that's not something that we can just do at a snapshot. It takes a lot of planning to make sure that we can reach all of the stakeholders.
Thank you. And that actually addresses my second question, which is, will there be professional learning on combating anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, as discussed in the resolutions? So you just answered that. And then on page 25, there's information about a newly formed emergency preparedness committee at Gunn High School. Does PALI have one? Are they considering adding this committee? Just interested.
I can
Okay,
address
thank
that.
you.
Yeah, so what started out, first of all, we do the emergency preparedness training for all schools and all staff, so that's baseline, everyone gets that. At our high schools, we started a student safety resilience team, which we opened it up to community members, staff, anyone. We had a few students from each high school, and they also were able to go through some training, receive some certifications. They also received CTE credit, an internship. Additionally, when the students reached out to form a lot of times these are done through clubs and activities. They already had they wanted to do a safety preparedness club, and they already had a Red Cross club. So they decided to do this safety preparation team, and it started at Gunn with the assistance of Dr. Hickson, the AP at Gunn, and we are also promoting that, an opportunity to do the same thing at PALI. So it's a volunteer opportunity for students, so we hope to continue to get student and community engagement on the safety topics. So.
Thank you. And so it's great to be discussing it here and to elevate it so that for the community that is listening to know of these options. So thank you so much. Those were my only questions. So as their student board members are not here. Sorry. Yes, I do. Yes.
Thank you. So I wanted to say thank you for the presentation and all the work that went into it. The breadth and the depth of the goals as presented is impressive, and I thought the progress was really commendable. There are 5 goals, but the activities within the goals really run the gamut, including teacher mentorship and programs and streamlining progress reports and working with outside partners, et cetera. Great job. So I just have one comment and one question. The comment, I also was pleased to see as part of the mental health and wellness, a slide on the emergency preparedness. As we know all too well from the recent events, the earthquakes and subsequent tsunami warning just less than 2 weeks ago, and another school shooting in our country yesterday, The importance of these plans can't be overstated. So I just wanted to say thank you for including that, and I look forward to working together on these. My question was on the literacy goal. I was really pleased to see all the efforts made in expanding the early literacy program into secondary schools. I know we started with the goal of having all kids at grade level reading by 3rd grade, and now we're talking about data-driven instruction all the way through 12th. So just wanted to ask if we know when we can expect to see data on the outcomes of those efforts.
I can take this one. So actually at our next board meeting, we're working on our item that we're going to be providing the board and the community information as to where we are, where we're going to go with the actual data.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other questions? It's hard in a line sometimes to see the questions. Okay, great. Thank you so much for the presentation and for the information. And now B, career-themed pathways and artificial intelligence update. Dr. Austin.
Okay, we'll turn this over to Dr. Che and her team in just a second. One thing I'd like to just say, we went through this earlier today, and even after reading the report, I just saw it differently today. When you see the data that we're going to present as far as our participation, our volunteer rates for trainings, and some of the things that are touching students in the best possible areas, like impactful work, it's easy to think that's the way it is everywhere. It isn't. And I really, when you see the numbers that are going to pop up here, you know, let it soak in a little bit. This is some amazing work from Dr. Che and her entire team, and it's benefiting our students in very profound ways. Dr. Che?
Thank you, Dr. Austin. Just to give provide some context, the Federal Perkins Act and State Career Technical Education, or CTE, represent vital support for PAUSD's career-themed pathway, which guide our effort to align CTE pathways with evolving industries and technology-driven workforce. This year, we've also advanced work in AI, aligning with the state legislation as well as recommendation from our ad hoc committee. Tonight's report will highlight our ongoing work with the career-themed pathway and AI. Thanks to our dedicated teachers and staff who deeply cares about preparing students not just for college, but also for careers. I also would like to give a special thanks to our industry partners, including our CTE advisory, as well as Foothill Community College and Stanford University. I'll now turn it over to our staff, who will share more about this exciting work.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Casey, and I am the work experience teacher for PAUSD, providing students with career-related opportunities. Today, I'd like to highlight how our CTE programs play a transformative role in the lives of students. This slide embodies the holistic approach of our CTE pathways that supports K through 12 students and beyond. For example, I've worked with many students that face challenges in the traditional academic settings, which affect engagement, confidence, performance. Through CTE courses, many data points show that a student may improve their academic performance and also develop essential life skills, such as time management, communication, and resilience. This success is a testament to how CTE programs bridge gaps for students to thrive and prepare them to be future ready. Of the state-aligned CTE pathways, PAUSD offers 10 for students to engage with industry coursework. By continuing to support and expand CTE offerings, we ensure that all students have access to pathways that inspire success and build essential skills for their future. Thank you for investing in programs that meet students where they are and help them to excel.
I'm Jackie Smith, Coordinator of Educational Technology and CTE. The industry sectors Ms. Casey just described are woven into our students' educational journeys from TK to 12th grade through a curriculum of career exploration experiences. At elementary, our program sparks creativity and plants seeds for possibilities later on. Students then have the opportunity to expand their career exploration in middle school through exploratory wheel and elective courses. such as industrial tech, culinary science, and others. In high school, their experience culminates in specialized career-themed pathways, such as engineering design, business management, media arts and journalism, just to name a few. And of course, our work-based learning experiences. This aligned approach across the grade spans allows students to gradually explore their interests and develop and refine valuable skills for future success. Here are just some of the key highlights of student impact these career exploration opportunities have provided. Just in the last year, we've served and supported over 500 students with active work permits. Over 50 high school students with IEPs participated in summer work programs, and over 4,000 secondary students enrolled in one or more CTE pathway course throughout this last year. The College and Career Readiness Indicator is one of 6 state measures in the California School Dashboard. The CCI measures how well schools and districts prepare students for education and work after graduation. All student groups in Palo Alto performed at high or very high levels of preparedness, with a total of 86% prepared. This far exceeds the state prepared rate of just over 45%. The graph on the right reflects continuous growth in the number of our students who are prepared, showing an increase of nearly 12% from 2019 to 2024. This provides a closer look at the student group level performance of the college and career indicators. This data really shines a light on the collective effort of our students, teachers, and staff to ensure all students are prepared for college and career. All reportable student groups performed at the high or very high level. There were notable increases in 6 of our student groups, including an 11.3 increase for our socioeconomically disadvantaged student group and a 12.2% increase for our students with disabilities. I'm going to hand things over now to Mr. Ziegelman to share more about how we're integrating generative AI into our continuum of career exploration.
Hello, my name is Tanner Ziegelman, and I'm our district's Innovation and Technology TOSA. The goal of our AI Now initiative this year is to build AI literacy skills for educators and classified staff while identifying opportunities to enhance teaching and learning. This initiative launched last year to support district staff, and it has grown into a learning experience reaching over 425 teachers. Our 33 AI lead teachers have been instrumental in defining best practices and creating engaging learning opportunities for their colleagues. The impact of AI on education and students' futures careers creates a lot of great opportunities and reasons for reflection, which is why we have prioritized teacher voice in navigating this ever-evolving digital world. Now, while the impact of AI on secondary education may be more familiar, our focus on elementary school is in building foundational skills such as creativity and collaboration that will prepare students for an AI-driven future. We've embedded learning opportunities for students to develop these skills in our existing Creativity Cart program, as shown in this slide deck. I started the year supporting one of our 5 innovation centers, and I was so lucky to have the chance to see the excitement of our elementary students week after week as they ran over to the innovation center with their friends to tinker and explore. My favorite part was when I'd hear students say things like, "Whoa, how'd you make that?" and to hear, "Oh, let me show you," in response. Over the weeks of returning to the center, there was such a clear culture of collaboration and communication among students across grade levels, and as a teacher, I felt so grateful to experience that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's see if we have public comment. We have Stephen Davis, public comment.
It was great to see the career readiness improvement for our 4 disadvantaged groups highlighted in the district, but there still remains a 20 to 40+% performance gaps between these groups in the top performing categories. This is a particularly priority for these students as this is the education they're going to be getting. There is a long way to go, but thank you for the work so far. I am also pleased that the district is paying attention to AI, but I will say as a parent, I was a bit disconcerting to hear that grammar checkers were banned in the district, as I think I've been using them in Microsoft Word since around the early 1990s at least, so probably longer than some of the committee members have been alive. We need to focus on teaching our kids to deal with radical changes in technologies over their lives, not necessarily any specific tool. When I was in middle school, this amazing new technology was the TI-30 calculator, which probably almost none of you remember, but it basically covered numerically math through high school. Was revolutionary, new thing. I think $30 when I was in middle school. Now we all have iPhones and ChatGPT, and this is in the course of my life. Though I guess I've got a lead on you, I was alive when we went to the moon. So anyways, thank you for this. But I think we need to think about how we engage with technology overall, not just AI. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, do we have questions, comments? I'll start with Mr. Durab.
Sure. Thank you for the presentation. I think in the past, we have focused a lot, when we say college and career readiness, we as in the board and in the community, we focused a lot on the college part. And we've also focused on it being college and career readiness, when truly it's college or career readiness. And that measure is not just a measure of pure academics in terms of grades. It's actually a measure, and in fact, out of the 11 factors that make up the college or career readiness dashboard indicator, more than half of them have to do with things that are not actually grade related. And so, especially as we're working on leveraging new technologies, and we are, I think since I've been on the board, we've seen more and more that students are leaving high school and being able to join extremely, what were previously academic professions with less than 4 years of college. And I say this as a member of 5 highly educated board members, but looking at college or career readiness is really critical, and looking at the CTE aspect of it is going to be more and more important in the coming years and decades in terms of preparing our students to go out and to do what, in my opinion, is the responsibility of a public school district, which is to prepare our students to become successful in that they contribute to our society. So at CSBA, we all met many different board members and superintendents from different school districts. And without exception, everybody I talked to lamented about the state of CTE education in California, and how in their district they were unable to meet the CTE standards of other districts in other states. And they went off of laundry lists of things that they didn't have in their districts that other states have. And every time they did, I thought to myself, well, we do that here. And so it just goes to show you that in terms of being a well-rounded district and providing extremely rigorous and high academic standard classes to our students, and also preparing students who wish to go the route of career technical education, those opportunities, we're doing far better than most districts in California. Are we doing as well as other districts in other states in that area? Maybe not as well as we could be, but again, broadening pathways for success is sort of in my opinion, the key measure of how successfully we're serving our students in college or career readiness. And so it was great to see. And I, again, just emphasize focusing on the CTE piece is really, really good and really important work, and it's going to become more and more important over the years. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Salzman?
Just one question. When we're looking at the percentage increase, is that from the prior year, or what are the 2 points of comparison?
That is correct. It's released through California dashboard, so it's year-to-year increment.
Okay, thank you.
Any other? I would like to thank Dr. Che. I would like to thank Jackie Smith, Rachel Cassie, and Tanner Ziegelman for being here tonight, in addition to all the work that you have done. And I echo Board Member Drop's comments, and I just want to add, saw 425 plus teachers have taken part in this training. Is this required training? Yeah.
It's voluntary.
Voluntary. And so as a former teacher, I want to thank the teachers for taking extra time out of their day and choosing to take part in this training. It really shows that this, our focus in AI, it is grassroots, it is teacher driven, and they're taking extra time out of their day to attend this training. So I just want to comment on that and thank you for the presentation. And if we don't have any other comments, then we will move on. Okay. Open, we now have open forum, and I have a few words before open forum. So if you've not filled out a speaker card using the QR code, please do so now, as we are unable to add speakers after the first speaker. Okay. We deeply appreciate the contributions of our students, parents, teachers, staff, and community, our educational partners. Your engagement is vital to our democracy, and we value the opportunity to hear your perspectives. This open forum is the dedicated time during the meeting for public comments on non-agenda items. And I promise you that we, your trustees, will listen carefully to your comments and concerns. But under the Brown Act, which governs public meetings in California, school board members are not allowed to engage in back and forth discussions with the public during open forum if the topic being raised is not on the meeting agenda. The law requires that all deliberations and decisions by the board on specific topics occur only on items that have been publicly noticed on the agenda. And the reason for this is it ensures transparency and gives everyone in the community a fair chance to know in advance what will be discussed. So engaging in a discussion or responding during open forum could be seen as deliberating on a matter that hasn't been properly noticed, which would violate the requirements of the Brown Act. So while we can't respond to you in open forum, we are here to listen and take your input seriously. And if you would like a specific follow-up, please don't hesitate to reach out via email after the meeting. We are here to support you and address your concerns. In the words of Simon Sinek, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. So if you are here to observe or waiting for your turn to speak, please avoid any actions that could disrupt the meeting or hinder others from participating. Our children are not only shaped by our actions and decisions, but they learn from the example we set during these meetings. So thank you for being here and contributing to our shared mission of supporting our students and community. And based on the number of speakers, we have 1.5 minutes and 1 minute. Oh, it's hard to count that quickly. So the first 3 speakers, I see Terry Baldwin, Rachel Gibson, and Anika Deshpande. And again, I apologize if I mispronounce the name. Please don't, hesitate to correct me.
Hi, thank you. Terry Baldwin, President of the Palo Alto Educators Association. Just here to say welcome to and congratulations to our new board members. We're really happy to see you up there and expect a great working relationship with everyone, as always, all year round. And also, Meb Steiner wanted me to also extend her congratulations because she couldn't be here tonight. We did have some teachers here earlier, but it is final, so most of them left, but they were here to welcome you and congratulate you as well. So thank you.
Good evening. I have 2 kids in the district who attend Gunn, and I currently chair the district's Sustainable Schools Committee. When the district eliminated the sustainability manager position during COVID, it nearly decimated the nationally recognized sustainability program. A couple years later, the district hired a sustainability technician who was able to pick up a few of the pieces of the program that had been neglected. And now that position is gone, eliminated this past summer, and existing staff are expected to do their jobs, plus all of the important sustainability work for which this district used to be known. Elevating the Sustainability Committee to a board-level committee portends this board's commitment to sustainability. I maintain that it's also time to bring back a district-level sustainability position with appropriate authority. As you begin to plan for the next academic year, I respectfully urge this board to include funding for such a position. Sustainability obviously isn't the school district priority, but with a student body that understands climate change to be an existential threat, they need leaders who are going to acknowledge their anxieties and take meaningful action, particularly as we see change in leadership at the federal level. Thank you.
Anika?
Good evening. My name is Annika Deshpande, and I'm a sophomore at Pali. I'm also the co-president of the Pali Environment and Medicine Club. As a club, we are here this evening to ask the board to include sustainability as a component of the Palo Alto Promise. Under the first pillar, serve and celebrate others, we must serve future generations by ensuring a more sustainable world for those who come after us. Second, under mental health and wellness, we cannot overlook the growing issue of environmental anxiety among students. A healthy environment is crucial for mental and physical wellness. By prioritizing electrification, getting to zero waste, and offering healthier plastic-free food options, we can directly improve student wellness. The third pillar, literacy, is about helping students prepare for the future. In-depth teaching about not just the carbon cycle, but of other forms of pollution harming our planet is essential to doing this. We urge the board to ensure that these topics are integrated into classrooms throughout the district and throughout grade levels. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next three are Kenneth, Kirti Raj, Siddharth Iyer, and Avro Shah.
Good evening, members of the school board. My name is Kirti Raj, and I'm a junior at Pali. I'm the Associated Student Body Representative of Pali's Environment and Medicine Club. Under the fourth pillar of equity and excellence, it is essential to recognize that environmental degradation disproportionately affects economically disadvantaged communities. Finally, in the pillar of innovation, Palo Alto has been a long leader in technology, and sustainability should be a part of that legacy. One example is electrifying the PAUSD white fleet with electrical vehicles, which would reduce the district's carbon footprint and demonstrate a strong commitment to green energy. This would set a powerful example for both the community and students about the importance of sustainability, innovation, and pave the way for future green technologies. We urge the board to consider integrating sustainability into the Palo Alto Promise. It's not only an essential issue for our generation, but also a chance for our district to lead the way in creating a healthier, more equitable, and innovative future. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, members of the school board. My name is Siddharth Iyer, and I'm a sophomore at Palo Alto High School. I'm the co-president of the Environment and Medicine Club at Pali. Did you know that even if we stopped all emissions today, it wouldn't be enough to prevent the effects of climate change? The damage is so severe that reducing emissions alone isn't enough. This is where climate restoration comes in. Climate restoration focuses on actively repairing our atmosphere and ecosystems while we support the district reducing emissions. We urge PAUSD to recognize more action is needed, removing carbon from the atmosphere to not only stop the damage but reverse it. We encourage PAUSD to follow the City of Palo Alto's lead by purchasing carbon offsets and prioritizing afforestation even in existing PAUSD buildings. These steps would reduce the district's carbon footprint and help remove carbon from the atmosphere. By acting now, PAUSD can lead in sustainability and show a real commitment to future generations. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much. And now we have Avro Shah.
Good evening, school board members. My name is Avro Shah, and I'm a sophomore at Palo Alto High School. I'm here tonight to express my concerns regarding the district's progress on sustainability and climate. We have all experienced the floods, the heat waves, and the wildfire smoke, and it is increasingly evident that Palo Alto is no climate haven. In cognizance of the climate crisis and the lack of action to resolve it globally, many of my peers have professed grave concern in regards to their futures. Hence, on behalf of myself, but also my friends, family, and neighbors, I ask that the district take tangible and meaningful action to demonstrate its value of my fellow students' livelihoods and honor its commitment to the excellence and health of its constituents. It is imperative that the board restore funding in next year's budget toward a dedicated staff person to lead the district's sustainability program, without which PAUSD cannot even maintain the progress that has already been made, let alone advance new initiatives, including initiatives aligned with the city's SCAP. I ask that you consider the realistic and substantial implications of the climate crisis on our students and take the necessary steps to mitigate these harms. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'll call up the next three. We have Ken Horowitz, Stephen Davis, and Dean Loomis.
Good evening. My name is Ken Horowitz, and I'm a retired healthcare professional, and I'm here to advocate for youth mental health. And one of the ways we can do that is to pass a sugary drink tax. We know the ill effects of sugar on our students. I think since 2018, we now have something like 10 bubble tea shops in Palo Alto. And I think we need to do something about sugar. And I think passing a sugar tax would be one of the ways we could raise funds for youth mental health. The other thing I want to advocate for is the school city liaison committee. You haven't met in a number of months, and I'm very supportive of the relationship between the city and the school board. And it was because of Mr. Darp and former board member DeBrenza that we got the Coverly thing worked out. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Stephen Davis?
I'm speaking in reaction to the public reporting on the Escondido incident and potential systematic issues so we can do better going forward. I provided written comments to the board, which I hope you got in this transition for the board. One of the questions that I asked the newly elected board members during the campaign was about elementary student suspensions, and this apparently occurred during the course of this incident. There is clear disproportionality in these suspensions, and we should ask what purpose they serve. At the very least, we are overdue to look at our suspension data. Suspensions rose by 50% in the school this last year, from 1% to 1.5%. So with a substantial increases for virtually all of our disadvantaged groups. It's time to take this seriously and revisit our policy on suspensions, especially in elementary schools. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dean Loomis?
I spoke at the October meeting about discrimination and retaliation happening at PAUSD. Nothing has improved. In fact, it's gotten worse. Brett Larson still has not been held accountable for any of the complaints of harassment and targeting. In August of this year, I submitted a formal complaint against Brett Larson to Don Austin, which is confirmed received by Robert Andrade. In September, I received an email from Anley dismissing the complaint based on fictitious reasoning. I resubmitted to Don Austin, and the only response I got from him was a strange Sunday night email filled with false accusations. I've been denied my right to make a formal complaint, which is discriminatory. I think Ann Lay, Don Austin, and Trent Bahadur Singh run PAUSD like mobsters, offering protection and promotions to their favorites while trying to destroy those they don't like through the use of weaponized bureaucracy. It is completely uncivilized and totally grotesque.
Please contact HR with your complaints, and please email the rest of your comments to board@pausd.org.
I will. HR doesn't work. It's corrupt. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We have Barbara, Daniel Jennings, and Patty.
There was a district email that went out in September regarding the Hoover all-gender bathroom concept, which prompted me clarification at Green Middle School with the principal. I was informed this change was only affecting single occupant bathrooms. fully enclosed facilities, which at the schools were the wheelchair accessible restrooms. However, I recently discovered that a bathroom labeled as all gender, equipped with wheelchair symbols, was on the campus at Green Middle School, and it was now labeled all gender. I opened the door, and there are multiple stalls in there. This is extremely scary to have 11-year-old girls in with 14 or 15-year-old boys and to have been misled about it and outright lied, if we want to call it the truth. So I ask, who approved the conversion of this multi-stall bathroom to an all-gender space? What criteria was used to justify this decision? Protecting the mental health and physical safety of all students, those who feel vulnerable and those who are being accused of misconduct in these situations is very important. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We have Danielle Jennings.
I'm here in person. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to make it.
Hi.
Congratulations to all of you. I'm here because I work in education technology and Danielle Jennings. Hello, everyone. I work in education technology and I created an AI STEM program that converges the technical skills that you need in terms of critical thinking with STEM, and tennis, sorry. What I'm here for is to see about potential partnership district-wide for grades 3 to 12 for this program that converges AI, STEM, and tennis. As of next year, it'll be running at Oracle's Design Technology High School, the Ostman JCC as an after-school program, in addition to Job Corps, which provides particularly for unhoused youth education and training into career transition programs, as well as with a science institute for middle school students. And I just wanted to get your consideration. I did email the board about this program and happy to provide additional information.
Thank you so much. We now have Patty, Artin Irani, and Star Teach Out.
Hi. Really nervous, so just follow up of Barbara. Why is it okay for all genders and handicapped to be in one bathroom at the same time? Doesn't make sense to me. Don't students want to have some sense of privacy? I was in a bathroom one time and it said boys and girls because the boys' bathroom was locked up. And I didn't want somebody coming in to, some other guy coming into a stall, because there was 2 stalls, and hearing him go to the bathroom, you know. So I don't mind using a bathroom used by all genders as long as it's one toilet and the door locks. You need to check on this bathroom at Green Middle School. What is the benefit of having, oh, she already said that, okay. Anyway,
Thank you so
we're
much.
done.
And you can email the rest of your comments to board@pausd.org. Thank you. We have Artin Irani and then Star Teach Out.
Good evening, members of the school board. My name is Artin Irani and I am a sophomore at Palo Alto High School. I'm joining today as a member of the California Youth Climate Policy Leadership Program, which supports students across California who are advocating for climate and environmental action in their school district. I'm here today to express my concern for the gap in climate literacy amongst our elementary schoolers in our district. It should be our goal as a community to teach our children how their everyday actions positively or negatively impact the environment and contribute to climate change. This is important when it comes to introducing sustainable practices that children carry on into adulthood, building early awareness of climate change and environmental issues, and equipping students with knowledge and tools to make environmentally conscious decisions from a young age. Seeing this as a pressing matter, I kindly urge the board to take action on this critical issue by adopting a resolution to incorporate sustainability-based climate literacy into
Thank you so much. And please email the rest of your comments to board@pausd.org. Now we have Star Teach Out.
Excuse me. I missed the last meeting and I really wanted to say thank you to the departing board members. Even when we don't agree, I think I'm not alone in thanking them for all the hard work that they've done and giving up their time. I missed the opportunity to comment on the board schedule, meeting schedule. So I want to add some thoughts for next year when you decide on the schedule. I want to agree with Dr. Austin that we really entrust our board with a lot of important topics. And we certainly want to go easy on our board members. And there's a reason why in past years, we typically have 16 to 18 meetings per year. I did write in October to President Latimirak and Dr. Austin, and I never heard back from them. I wanted information on why you'd like to reduce the meetings to 12 as opposed to the greater number. And I'd still be interested in that information, so I'll send this to you, and my time is up.
Thank you. And then our last comment for open forum is Rika Yamamoto.
Thank you, everyone. Congratulations, new board members. Good evening. I want to highlight the needs for strong school and the city collaboration to address the gaps in after-school program for students with disabilities. A great example of such a partnership is already existing Safe Route to School, which bring together school, the city, and the community for a common goals. We need a similar model to create inclusive after-school program, particularly for secondary students with a disability who's currently lack this opportunity. Additionally, just announcements, the special education PTAs in the process for being created in our community. So we encourage families, students, and staff to get involved. Together we can build a strong and more inclusive supportive network for our students. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that concludes open forum. Next, we have approval of consent calendar. Can I get a motion on the table? Or no, we have one public comment first. Yeah, we do have one public comment. Stephen Davis.
Couple quick things. One, I will note that 3 of the 6 staff ending employment work in special education. We really need to have long-term staff tracking data to see why where we're losing staff and why. For many people in the public who probably don't look at these things, please go look at the demographic reports from the school census. Really important information. I would ask again that the board and the district collaborate together to include more meaningful information in the consent agenda items in terms of project contract performance. It's not just cost data that we care about as a community. It's are people doing a good job? Do we have liability issues? There are many meaningful performance metrics for many of these contracts that should be important both to the board and certainly are important to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, can I get a motion on the table? You need a motion on the table first?
I move that we approve the consent calendar.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, the motion is on the table. Any discussion, colleagues? Ms. Kamhai?
I just wanted to say I was excited to see the item on here about the addition of EV chargers at school in line with continued sustainability that I know is important to our community.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Colleagues, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Then the consent, it's approved. Now we move on to action items. Number 7A, 24-25 first interim budget report. It is recommended that the board, 1, waive the 2-meeting rule, 2, certify to the County Office of Education Superintendent the district can meet its financial obligations through the end of the fiscal year and for the subsequent 2 years, and 3, approve the budget revisions listed in the projected year totals. Staff presentation, Dr. Austin.
Yeah, before I turn this over, could be a question about why waive the 2-meeting rule. We will always ask to waive the 2-meeting rule on this particular item because of the timing. So we have a statute that requires it to be done here, and it can't be prepared earlier, so that's why you see that. At some point, we should just call this routine and not waive it because it's as routine as it gets. The spoiler alert is we are in good shape, and I want to thank everyone involved in preparing this report. I've seen districts that struggle to get this done and get it done well. And not only have they done a good job, I also want to thank Ms. Yu for meeting with our new board members as well to start to walk them through and get them oriented. Even if you come from a world of finance, school finance and the way we report is not intuitive. It's hard to learn. So I really appreciate you all jumping in and taking advantage of that, Ms. Yu, for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Austin. Tonight, I'm presenting the first interim report, which reflects updates to our revenue and expenditure from July 1st to October 31st. I'm pleased to share that the district is submitting a positive certification for the first interim report. This means that the district can meet its current year expenditure obligation, and it's projected to meet its financial commitment for the next 2 subsequent years. This certification underscores our commitment to fiscal responsibility, ensuring stability and long-term financial health for the district. Here is a summary of revenue and expenditure. These updates incorporate changes based on property tax growth, adjustment to federal, state, and local revenues, site carryovers from prior years, and a few shifts in expenditure categories that I will outline. On the revenue side, our property tax growth is now projected at 4.88%, reflecting an increase of 1.38% over adopted budget estimates. In addition to property taxes, local revenue reflects a significant increase driven to 2 key factors: the lease extension for the Caberly property and various carryovers such as the parent donation, rental income, and program balances. Here is the changes in our expenditure. Overall general fund expenditure increased by 18 million or 5.3%, primarily driven by increase in federal, state, and local revenues. Much of this funding is tied to a specific program, resulting in adjustment to categories such as books, supplies, and services. Within our expenditure, there is a notable reduction in classified salaries, which is by $2.8 million. I just wanted to clarify that this is not a reduction in our staffing force. Instead, several unfilled positions were outsourced to temporary agencies, leading to a decrease in salaries and benefits. These costs are now reflected under contracted services, demonstrating our adaptability in managing staff needs while keeping essential operation running smoothly. Another significant updates within our other outgo category, which is an increase of $11.1 million. This is a direct result of the board-approved increase to the basic aid reserve in Fund 17 that was adopted last August. This decision was made to strengthen our financial stability and maintain healthy reserve for future uncertainties. Here is our ending fund balance. The ending fund balance consists of 6 categories: non-spendable, restricted funds, committed funds, assigned, reserved for economic uncertainties, which is a state-required 3%, and an unassigned and unrestricted. This is our multi-year projection, 5-year multi-year projection that shows a gradual decline in the fund balance over the next 5 years, starting from $107.9 million in 24-25 and ending at $81.9 million in 28-29, with an annual deficit tapering from $16.6 million to $588,000. It is important to note that the property tax growth is projected at 3% for the subsequent years, and salary increases or salary negotiated increases are not yet included in these figures. While the district is projecting structural deficit over the next 5 years, the healthy fund balance and adherence to the reserve requirement reflect a strong financial position. This projection highlights the importance of continued monitoring, thoughtful decision-making, and proactive planning to ensure long-term financial stability while supporting educational priorities. Here are some important dates related to the budget. This presentation has been reviewed and shared with our Fiscal Advisory Committee last week. Upcoming dates that we're bringing to the board: on the next board meeting, we are going to present the audited financial statement for 23-24. And following to that, we're going to meet Financial Advisory Committee to present and share with them our second interim. And we'll be back to the board on March 12 to present our second interim. And at the springtime, we're starting our budget development for 25-26. And in June, we'll be back to the board to approve and adopt our budget and an LCAP budget for 25-26. With that, that's conclude my presentation.
Thank you so much. I do not see any public comments. So can I get a motion on the table?
I'll do the first one. I'll move to waive the 2-meeting rule.
Thank you. Can I get a second to waive the 2-meeting rule?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We have waived the 2-meeting rule. And now, number 2, certify to the County Office of Education Superintendent the district can meet its financial obligations. Can I get a motion?
I move to that the district can meet its financial obligations.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And 3, approve the budget revisions listed in the projected year totals.
I make a motion to approve the budget revisions.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Great. There's a motion on the table. Any discussion, questions, comments?
Well, I just want to echo what Superintendent Austin said to Sharon about our appreciation for all the work you've put into this, and also for taking the time during a very busy time to help bring 3 new board members up to speed. Just speaking for myself, I really appreciated that time you spent with me, so thank you very much.
Any other comments, questions? Okay. I also want to thank you for meeting with me before the meeting. And I also just want to call attention to when we're looking at the 5-year multi-year projection, as you stated, we are estimating property taxes at 3%. But if for every 1%, if we do go over that, then it's an additional $2.5 million. So can you remind this year what was the property tax?
Right now, at first interim, we are at 4.88%. For every 1%, it translates to 2.5 million.
So I just wanted, the community to be aware of that. And another thing I just found interesting on the table is, if we go back to the big table, we have $1 million set aside for transitional kindergarten, which we call TK. And I'm just calling that out because it's important to note that for basic aid districts, we are not funded by the state. It is a requirement, but we are not funded. And so I just wanted the people listening to be aware of that fact. And with that, thank you so much for the presentation. And now we'll take a vote. Colleagues, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Thank you so much.
Just as a
Yeah.
procedural point,
Yeah.
we're not required to, but we can combine elements of an action. It's stylistic and
Okay.
efficiency related, but up to whoever makes the motion.
Thank you. Good to know. Thank you so much. So for B, on that note, B is approval of voluntary one-time employee separation incentive program for classified management, certificated management, and supervisory confidential employees. It is recommended the board, 1, waive the 2-meeting rule, and 2, approve a separation incentive program for eligible certificated management, classified management, and supervisory confidential employees. So staff.
Sure. Before I turn this over, a couple things. You can, if you would like, combine B and C, so you can do that. It would start with waiving the 2-meeting rule for both. In this particular case, the request for waiving the 2-meeting rule is due to timing. So we need to get this going, and people need to know that it's either going to happen or not. So that's why. As a reminder, we approved PAEA's separation incentive at the last meeting. It looks a little different just because the math is different around it. But just as a reminder, if you're looking like where are teachers, we already did it. Okay. So Mr. Bahadur Singh, you got it.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Austin. So as Dr. Austin mentioned, the next two items, B refers to the classified management, certificated management, and supervisory confidential employees. Item C refers to classified non-management employees. The terms of both items are exactly the same in terms of the eligibility requirements. And as Dr. Austin mentioned, we are hoping to get information. We have some preliminary information, but we'd like to move forward. With our classified unit, we do have a memorandum of understanding because any form of compensation is a negotiable item. So we have had multiple conversations with them, and we've come to an agreement on a memorandum of understanding, and it's pending their ratification by their membership and approval of the board. Then we'll be able to move forward with our CSCA members, as well as approval of item B for our certificated classified management and supervisor confidential.
Thank you. So can we first get a motion on the table to waive the 2-meeting rule for B and C?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we've now waived the 2-meeting rule. So now for B, approve a separation, so B2, approve a separation incentive program for eligible certificated management.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now for C2, we can combine 2 and 3, so approve the MOU with CSCA Chapter 301 pending ratification by their membership, and 3, approve the implementation of the voluntary one-time employee separation incentive program for classified non-management. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Now we are on D, approval of master planning consultant and agreement. It is recommended the board establish a master plan budget of $1.5 million from the bond reserve fund and approve the master planning consultant and agreement for master planning services with CAW Architects.
Before turning this over, I just want you to know that when I first came to this district, not having something at this level of detail surprised me. This is really kind of an industry standard. Not to say that there wasn't work done, but this is different. And an investment of this kind should be seen, in my opinion, as an investment, not an expense. This is a very cheap insurance policy and an opportunity to have community outreach at a very high level. I really appreciate Mr. Holmes' work on this. This is not the first time it's come before the board, but it is the first time we brought it forward to actually act upon it. So, Mr. Holmes?
Good evening, board members. It's nice to meet you all. This presentation is actually a repeat of the presentation we gave last February. We felt, given the new board, it was relevant to just sort of go through that thought process to how we got here on this decision forward on the master plan. So I will kind of go a little quick through it since this is sort of a repeat, but I'm happy to answer any questions on it. So just as an overview, we are currently completing Measure A, and we're about halfway through Measure Z. That's our second and third bonds that we have done in the history of this district. When we last went out for Measure Z in 2018, it was for $460 million, and there was a general rough assessment of outstanding need of $1 billion at that time. And so just as some highlights of some of our projects, This was the multipurpose room at Addison before, and this is the library multipurpose now. Same with El Carmelo, the before and after multipurpose. We did a career tech at Fletcher, career tech classroom building. We did the central building at Gunn, library at Pali. And then since this is a repeat, we don't have the completed projects that are just opening this week. So this one was Palo Verde, but Escondido is going to open over winter break, and it's a spectacular new admin and multipurpose. And then the Gun administration and food service building is half open. They had a massive cookie party there last Friday to thank the teachers. That I think there's some pictures on Twitter somewhere or on X. So we're very excited about the work that has transpired and the bonds have allowed us to implement thus far. Oh, and then the Pali Tower, and if you haven't seen the tower renovation, it's a spectacular building as well. We have multiple other projects we've been working on, and then just as an overall about how construction has evolved over the years, you look sort of the highlight in the red. A classroom building in 2012 used to cost us about $750,000 for a classroom. We're looking at they're going to ultimately be about a $2 million per classroom. It's just when you think of like how many classrooms you have just to build new, that's what it costs to build a classroom. So obviously we try to remodel them and get as much life out of them as possible, but school construction is expensive, and that's why the bond dollars are big dollars that we're talking about. Back in 2023, we revised our bond budget and took several projects that were on our list and pulled them off the list so we could reprioritize our funds and devote more funds to HVAC and to the Hoover project and some other projects. And at that time, it was $125 million, I think, that we pushed off to the future. And then this is the current status of our elementary schools. The important thing to realize is the purple was new construction. Everything else was original construction that was modernized, and so the colors represent different stages of modernization. And you generally look at modernizing a building every 25 years with a full replacement somewhere in the 50 to 75 year range. So everything in red is going to be 25 years or more older in 2029, which is about 55% of our classroom inventory. So we have a pretty substantial need and a pretty substantial need to assess it and analyze it. And really the challenge is we may have modernized something, but a lot of the infrastructure under that also is still the original 75-year-old infrastructure. And then as our current funding plan, I realized this isn't exactly the same presentation as last time because it's still at the draft. We didn't upload the same one. Sorry, Vicki, I gave you the wrong file. But we're planning to finish out our bond funds by the end of 26-27. And we've got some other funds to do some continued work on. But ultimately, we're looking at next steps at this point. And so our next steps that we propose were to do a new district master plan. And the first step of that is to hire an architect, which is what this item will be tonight, to engage with that architect. The process is going to be about an 18-month process, and that is going to lead us to analyzing what our needs are and what a future bond would be in 2028 and how big that bond would be. And so for that bond preparation, after the year and a half, then we'll move into doing the bond survey work and fundraising for bond and whatnot to get ready for a bond, which would be the first chance would be spring of 28. So this is sort of our long range vision of this. And then that's just a comparison because it's always, when you see the first architect's fees, it's the first cost you have in a project. So it looks like a really big cost, but if you're talking about $1 billion of need somewhere out there, this is actually a very small cost. And a lot of times when I'm explaining buildings, I use I use car analogies as far as maintenance on a vehicle and stuff like that. And what we want to avoid is what you hate when you take your car to the mechanic and they say it's $500, and then a month later a warning light comes on and it's another $1,000, and then a month later it starts leaking oil and it's another $1,000, and you go, man, if I'd only known, I would have had a different assessment of what I would do with this vehicle. So we're trying to have that assessment of what we would do with our facilities now. And so it's a lot of work with the engineers. CAW Architects is the architect that we have that we're proposing to engage with this work. We had 6 applicants and we had 8 applicants, interviewed 4 of them, And CAW was a unanimous selection by our panel, and they are a local Palo Alto firm. They specialize in schoolwork. They also have done master plans for every district that touches us, which was a unique quality. So they are really well versed in our community, in our area. They've also done a ton of work in Palo Alto. They did the Junior Museum and Zoo. They've done between 50 and 100 projects at Stanford. They did the Guild Theater in Menlo Park. So they've really got a broad round of experience. And so this master plan contract is going to be for several phases of development over the next 18 months. And so we're asking for an overall contract or an overall budget of 1.5 million, and their contract in that is just under 1.2 million.
Thank you so much. And before I take it to colleague comments, I just also want to reiterate that we've been discussing the need for a master plan at board meetings for about a year, but going back 3 years before I was even on the board, a lot of the discussion points about Hoover informed the need for the master plan for the district. And so this contract would be the start of that process. And then since my time on the board, we've reallocated bond money, such as doing HVAC projects. And so, as you stated, we've kicked about $125 million to the future that we originally had on our list. So a holistic master plan is an approach that we could make for our district. So I won't say more now, but with that, do we have colleague questions, comments? Yeah, Board Member Drop.
I just want to call out that the amount of stakeholder input is voluminous, which is great. I think something like 20 site meetings over the course of the entire plan and 7 board agenda items or presentations, which is great. As Ms. Siegel said, this sort of a holistic view. I think had we had a master plan, we would have done things a little differently. I remember Terry Baldwin, who's sitting at the back, being in our BBAC committee, we're talking about air conditioning, which was such a big need for teachers and kids, and wasn't a part of any kind of master planning process with measures A and Z. So this will be a great opportunity for us to get ahead of those things and certainly include a lot of stakeholder feedback.
Thank you. Yes. Mr. Salzman.
Yeah, I want to echo what Member Durop said about how great it is that we are thinking about this in a strategic way. I think this is really important for us to do that across all aspects of the district, and that includes our facilities. One of the reasons why I think this is so important is because it also helps us build trust, I think, with our community that we are spending money wisely. And so then when we go out and we ask folks to pay more on their property taxes, they are inclined to vote yes. So I'm really glad to see this. And one of the things that I did want to bring up, but Councilmember Durop already sort of addressed this, was how important it is that when we think about facilities, we think about them not just as like trophy buildings, because I have to say those pictures are beautiful. Those are some very nice looking facilities. And that's terrific. And I love, going to visit our schools and just sort of looking at what nice facilities we have. But I think we also want to make sure that as we're going through this process, we're really thinking about how these facilities contribute to improved outcomes for our students. And so I'm really happy to hear that we have touch points built into the process to do that.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Kamhai.
As this is new for me, I just really appreciate the detail that was provided to us and the community at this stage. I appreciate the comprehensive nature of the plan. And it's been mentioned before, but I want to emphasize it again, the ongoing commitment to transparency, as demonstrated by the numerous plan meetings with principals, with teachers, with parents. I saw in there surveys for teachers, for staff, for families, plan presentation to the board and the community. So thank you, and I look forward to hearing more.
Thank you. As I mentioned before, in my 2 years on the board and then paying attention for years before that, this is something that would have come in very handy before and is important to be doing now. With our buildings being about 70 years old, I think looking at the entire building or parts of buildings versus do we remodel, do we rebuild? In order to know, we need a master plan. So I'm excited about this. So with that, do we have any further comments? Okay. Then, colleagues, all in favor?
Do we have a motion?
Do we have a motion? No. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the master plan.
I second.
Okay, there's a motion on the table. Colleagues, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, there is a card for a public comment. Stephen Davis.
It's really exciting to see a master plan proposed for the facilities. I actually asked that we also, and I don't know if this is in scope for a plan for the facilities, address our demographics and educational needs, not just the needs of the buildings. The demographic report coincidentally showed substantial shrinkage in the number of students in the district, as well as shifting locations, right? Sort of Palo Alto's as a student body is moving south within the district. So that should have some serious impact on this. So I don't know, is a master plan for the facility going to address a master plan for the school district? And if not, then we need one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, colleagues, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think we already voted.
Oh, yes, okay. And it is approved. Thank you. And now we have Mr. Holm again for E, approval of agreement for construction management services to Teleq Construction Management for Green Middle School Transformation Project. It is recommended the board authorize staff to issue an agreement for construction management services to Teleq Construction Management for Green Middle School Transformation Project for $1,357,711.
Thank you. So this one's actually kind of a swap. We actually have an existing contract with FS3 Hodges, who's one of our other construction managers. We have 3 different companies that provide construction management services for us. This project was put on hold and a couple years ago, and so the schedule shifted, and so we're really shifting the contract to Teleq because they have more manpower at the moment to handle this project, which we approved the contract with the contractor at the last board meeting. So we are going to begin this project under construction in the late winter, early spring.
Thank you. There's no public comment, so can I get a motion on the table?
I move to approve the agreement for construction management services to Teleq Construction Management for Green Middle School Transformation Project.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, questions? Then colleagues, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you. So now move to information items. We have one public comment, Stephen Davis.
I'd like to speak to the calendar. There are a number of important topics that are not on the calendar at all. The district has proposed a presentation on special education for our previous October meeting, which they decided to defer. It also looks like there is no presentation on the special education program for the rest of the year, nor is there a presentation on suspensions, which have gotten notably worse, or absenteeism, which has improved but should still be considered problematic. Please review this. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, any questions, comments on information items? Okay, and with that, we go to board operations. Okay. Okay, we'll start with Board Member Durop and then Board Member Salzman.
I want to welcome my new colleagues to the board and say that this was a very smoothly run meeting by our new president. As far as first meetings go, it'll get even smoother. The report I had is to follow up on what Dr. Austin said about CSBA, which was that it was, I had a great opportunity and many of you here got to see it, was I presented with Dr. Austin and Mr. Moore and Ms. Che, and we spoke about AI in education, reducing cognitive load, and we had a really nice multifaceted approach because the presentation included sort of high-level, district-wide AI integration, specifically what we're doing in the district, the sort of adoption rate and the interest level, how we are transitioning to AI in teaching and learning, which is to say, it's not where we're starting because that's the hardest piece of it. And it really has to come from the teachers. So getting folks involved and enthusiastic about it in the beginning is the way to get there. And then my piece was about how board members can use AI tools to get deeper into agenda items and then more effectively exercising the oversight of the district. So it was a great presentation, really well received. Like Dr. Arson said, hundreds of people in attendance. We had a packed room. We had a double room and it was packed. And throughout the conference, I and everybody else continued to get people coming up to us from districts all around California saying, this is amazing, and how can I learn more about integrating these into our district? So just big kudos to staff who presented and everyone who's been working on this. As folks have said, this is really exciting to see what we do next. So that's my report.
Thank you so much, Board Member Salzman.
Just to follow up on what Councilmember Durop said, I was in attendance at the presentation, and it was a lot of fun, I have to say, and also very informative. And I noticed a lot of nodding heads in the audience, so it was clear that the information that we were presenting as a district, I think represented our district really well, also was actually useful to a lot of the other attendees there, which I can't necessarily say for all of the sessions I attended at at CSBA, but I did get a lot of value out of the conference. And one of the things I wanted to mention, in addition to our session, was I was lucky enough to be present for a session from Yale professor Laurie Santos on the science of well-being. And there were a couple of things, key takeaways that I wanted to share with the community from that session. She shared some top 10 insights about happiness, strategies shown by research to correlate with increased happiness. And she went through some of the things you've probably heard about before about mindfulness and sleep and exercise, and included a little tidbit about how, assuming that you're able to meet your basic needs, becoming wealthy in terms of time will have a greater impact on your happiness than becoming wealthy in terms of money. Which on the one hand sounded great. On the other hand, I'm sure I'm not the only one in this room that feels like I'm suffering from time famine. And so she mentioned something else that really caught my attention, was this concept of time confetti, which are these little tiny bits of time that we find during our day, and suggested that we think about those as ways that we can incorporate some of these other things that we know might be helpful. So if you find yourself with an extra 5 minutes, do some stretching or some jumping jacks, or try to be mindful, think about your breathing. So anyway, that was a little bit of good news, but what was better news was that I also found that she has put this course together. She teaches this class at Yale, and she's put a free version of her course online on Coursera. So it's freely available to anyone who wants to sign up. And even better news is that she's also created a version of the course that's specifically for teens, which I think, given our community and especially given the stresses that our teens are going through, this is something that I'm hoping that we can share out to folks. So that was one session I attended about science. Another one that I attended, I just wanted to give a shout out to outgoing PAUSD trustee Todd Collins, who helped lead a session on the science of reading. that was delivered, unfortunately, on the last day of the session, so probably not quite as well attended as a result, but I thought was really excellent. And, you know, having a couple different sessions about the science of blank just made me think about how important it is that we think about the science of learning in general. And I just want to encourage all of us to make sure that we're focusing on the fundamentals. You know, for students, one of the things that's really important is thinking of assessment as a tool to help us understand where we are on our learning journeys, as opposed to something that just has to be a point of stress. And for educators, you know, making sure that we're giving timely feedback so that learners know where they should focus their attention as they look to improve. So those are a couple things I wanted to share. And I actually also wanted to ask Superintendent Austin to share just a little bit. Sorry to put you on the spot here, but I know that the team had a visit to Huntington Beach Adult School and learned some interesting things there. So I was hoping you could share just a couple quick thoughts about that.
Yeah, I can touch that. Usually takes till the second meeting when you start putting me on the spot, but you know, we'll go with it.
You said we had to get up to speed early.
That's right.
Quickly.
That's right. I had the opportunity to serve for 3 years in Huntington Beach Union High School District. It's a district that serves about 16,000 students. And we sent our staff team to Huntington Beach during the conference on a morning where they had a gap just to go see what we can learn from their really robust program. And there are definitely some places we want to explore that I want to bring back and talk to you more about, but I will foreshadow that I think we can do a better job with things like GED programs and some additional outreach credit recovery options. When we think adult school, sometimes we're thinking about like, you know, seniors, and that is certainly a big part of adult programming. But we think that there's also additional places where we can make the adult school feel a little bit more like part of our core school district as well. So we will definitely be bringing some things forward.
Thanks.
Thank you. Are there other? Okay. I attended Palo Alto CAC's 10th annual holiday tea. I also saw Mr. Salzman there and board member 2. And I want to thank the students who provided wonderful hospitality. It was so great that I couldn't hold everything that was offered to me. So I put one of the little oranges in my back pocket, and then I drove over to the district office. And then when I got to the district office, I had a meeting with the superintendent and a squished orange in my back pocket. Which was a first, but it was worth the wonderful experience we had there. So I also want to thank Palo Alto CAC and Palo Alto Council of PTAs for sponsoring this wonderful event. And as mentioned, I also had the privilege of attending CSBA's annual education conference, and I just want to share some of the topics that I attended, and included supporting tailoring mental health and community engagement strategies to support A and HPI youth, prioritizing effective communication, uplifting California's Black students in mathematics, best practices in conducting evaluations, policy setting, Brown Act training, and of course the wonderful presentation titled AI, Your Partner in Reducing Cognitive Load. So I just want to thank you for that. And I also want to call out I want to specifically thank Maria Akpara, board president of Apple Valley Unified School District. She generously offered her guidance and support during the breaks. And that's one of my favorite parts of CSBA, is getting to meet board members from all over the state. And a couple of her comments during the conference made me want to seek her out. And so I just want to thank her for spending the extra time. So with that, the meeting is adjourned.